Eurovision broadcaster Lisa Jane Lewis. All Out Eurovision.
Jane Lewis here with today's rehearsal rundown, and we are running down the second half of the first semi-final of this year's Eurovision Song Contest. And joining me for this rundown today is John Stanton from Eurovision Ireland. John, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Lisa. Another bonkers day, but that's why we love it.
That's what we're here for, isn't it? The bonkersness.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I would say just my overall impression is that there's been quite a lot of things that have surprised me today. Things that I thought would be great that weren't, things that I thought wouldn't be great that were. So I think we've got a lot to talk about. What's your overall impression of the day?
Today, it's been really good. 9 songs, I think. They seem to blend into one after a while. Nine songs to judge, and we love judging, as we all well know. And you've had everything. Everything's been thrown at us today, and again, that's just why we love it, really.
Yeah, we've not had a ballad today, have we? No.
Not really. No. A couple of less up-tempo songs, but nothing that you would class as a proper out-and-out ballad, really.
It's really, this is the, we were talking about it. This is the bloodbath semi-final, isn't it? This is where all the bangers are sort of vying for attention, and particularly in this second half.
Oh, you're not wrong. 16 songs, and 6 are going home, but I could probably pick 6. I think we could all pick the same 6 to go through, but then you've got all the others fighting for those 4 places, and it's going to be tough at the bottom.
Yeah, it really is. I'll ask you as we go through, just based on this, whether you think they're qualifying or not, but we don't hold you to it. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Right, let's get going, and let's start with our first rehearsal of the day, which was Cyprus, El Diablo. One of my pre-contest favourite songs. Don't know where it sits on your list, but what did you think of today's rehearsal? Well,
Cyprus, yeah, I can see its appeal. As a seasoned Eurovisionist, it's pretty much identical to what we saw a couple of years ago with Fuego and Replay. So it's sort of another remix of them, which, I don't know, maybe loses its appeal a bit after a while for me. But as I say, I could see its appeal with a wider thing. I was just sort of a bit underwhelmed by it, I think I have to say.
Okay.
Maybe it's been overhyped, I don't know, but it didn't come across as well as I was hoping.
Okay. I was really pleased with it, as I say, someone who really liked it. I think this is far better than Replay, I felt like Replay was in a very kind of dodgy position in that it immediately followed Fuego, which was like the big Cypriot moment, and everyone was trying to sort of compare it to it, but it just didn't really compare. I never really got that song. But this one, I do really, really love the song, and I'll be listening to it for years to come. I know that. I actually was quite impressed with the staging. I mean, it is what I expected. I won't say that it surprised me at all. But I want to mention the pyro, because that is some of the most perfectly placed pyro I think we've ever seen, because it's not in the front of the stage. Normally the pyro is like flying at you off the stage and in the very front, but this pyro is sort of set back, so it's quite subtle but still there. Did you notice that?
I did, yeah, and I have to agree. Cyprus are gunning for a win, and they've hit something with this thing. I mean, everyone's drawn comparisons to Lady Gaga, and I can see why. She's not unpopular. It's not an unpopular sound.
Yeah. I mean, I would say after today, I'd say it's a bit more Miley Cyrus than Lady Gaga, as people have been saying. But either way, those are still 2 very popular, artists who have a good following, and I think this will do well. Right. So based on today's rehearsal, do you think Cyprus is qualifying? Yes or no?
Yes, but only just.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm predicting a qualifier as well. Maybe in the middle. I don't think it's going to win the semi, but I don't think it's going to scrape in at the bottom either.
Definitely.
No. Let's move on then and talk about Norway. Ticks with Fallen Angel. So we go from the devil to the angel, which has not gone unnoted in corners of the fandom. So let's talk about Norway. Not much change from what we saw in Melody Grand Prix. What are your thoughts on Norway's rehearsal?
Norway's Rehearsal, yeah. Gosh, yeah, I love it. It's been a favourite of mine since I first heard it. He's a very eye-catching character, and that will appeal to your average televoter. He's had to drop 2 of the demons to fulfil the number of people on stage criteria, but I can hear other voices. So he's either got a backing singer off stage, or he's taken advantage of the recorded backing vocals easement. So it's great, it's eye-catching, but I also see it as a damn good radio song. You know, you could imagine this on a warm, sunny day, windows down, listening to him singing along. I like it, I really do.
I agree with that. It is very radio friendly and radio ready as well. You could just take this, drop it on any radio station anywhere in Europe, really, and it would garner followers. People would enjoy it. I'm a bit torn on this one because I do the song I'm sort of warming to. This has been near the bottom of my pile ever since it won Melody Grand Prix, because I just think there were better things in Melody Grand Prix, let alone at Eurovision. But I will say the song itself, I've sort of warmed up to it a little bit, but I still find him very I don't know what the word is. Unattractive is not the right word. I don't mean that in terms of like what he looks like. I don't find him compelling. It's not a character that I've warmed to particularly. And I don't know, I think the staging's just a bit cheesy. But then it is what it was from the national final, as you say, with 2 demons less. Yeah. So
Eurovision, cheesy, who knew?
Yeah, I know. But that's the thing, cheese can do well. I won't say it always does well, because sometimes it absolutely dies on its backside. But I just can't warm to it myself, despite trying and despite not thinking the song is completely awful as I used to. The thing with Eurovision is you've got one chance, so you have to grab people on the first listen. It's not like us that are listening to them for months in advance.
Yeah, the 3 minutes on stage, so you've got to make it count, and he's done that just purely by how he looks. But, your televoter in Skopje or Vilnius are going to look at him and think either wow or WTF.
Yeah.
I'll leave it to WTF.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be no half measures there, and it might make people vote for him, whatever they think, whether it's wow or WTF.
That's true, and as always at Eurovision, you have to split the crowd in order to do well. Everyone that produces a song that everybody just sort of likes, they're the ones that end up at the bottom of the pile. Yeah,
you've got songs that are clearly made for juries, probably in the first half of this semi-final. And you've got songs that are purely made for televoters. This one could cross the path because, as I say, as a radio song, the juries are going to have a brief for a good song, and it will tick those boxes. And then you got the televoter who will look at him and think, wow, they'll get drawn in. So it might tick some of those boxes as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can see it all. I just still don't like it particularly. Right, come on then. Based on today's rehearsals, do we think this is qualifying, yes or no?
Yes.
I agree. Yes, I have that on my list. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Representing Croatia.
Tried to fix the broken pieces, now I'm leaving. But you made it loud and clear I'm not enough. Try to fool me more than once to keep me dreaming, 'cause you knew the truth will tear us apart. If you pull me down, then I'll come around and rise up to come show you who I am. I feel fire inside, my heart's desire. I'm breaking free from you. Tick tock, watch the days go. I'm losing track of time, lost in your play zone. Don't overcomplicate now, we're in war zone. You're screaming, oh no, oh no, oh no. Tick tock, I'll take you dancing in
let's move on to our third rehearsal of the day, which was Croatia, TikTok, one of my pre-contest favourites. Your thoughts, Mr. Stanton?
Another banger. I like it. It's got a lot going for it. It's been choreographed within an inch of its life. So there's no problem on that score. It's a bit different to Dora, I understand, but it's well choreographed. She's got it all going on. Comments were made about what they're actually wearing, and it was looked like a scene from Starship Troopers. But that aside, so there's nothing wrong with it really.
It was quite Forbidden Planet, I have to say.
Definitely. I just think there's a run of this sort of song in this half of this semi-final. So songs that are popular, at least one of them's going to fall by the wayside. I don't think it's going to be this one though.
Interesting. I wholeheartedly agree with you there. We've got this kind of batch of girl pop, let's call it that, songs coming at us that are all well staged, choreographed, to, as you say, within an inch of their lives. And I do think that some of them, possibly more than one, are going to fall by the wayside just because of the very nature of the fact that they're all there. I feel like they don't deserve to fall by the wayside, but there are only 10 places available. So something's got to give somewhere along the line. And my suspicion is that it might just be this one based on what's before it and what's after it. Because I don't know, I feel like it doesn't have the impact of Norway that's coming before it. And we'll get on to Belgium in a minute. Belgium is just so wonderfully different.
Yeah.
I feel like it might get lost in the gap.
Yeah, you've got a number of songs that are competing for the same audience.
Yeah.
Whereas Norway, it's not really competing with anything.
No, I agree.
And there are other songs in this semi-final that are not really competing against something else. But you've got a run of, I'll say them. It's Cyprus, Croatia, Israel, Azerbaijan, and even Malta. They're all sort of competing for the same market.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And I think we might lose more than one of them, to be honest. And I suspect this might be one of the ones that falls by the wayside. Also because Croatia don't really have their voting partners with them in this semi-final as well. So it's not just about the fact of the song, but there's not much Balkan representation here. We've got Slovenia, but they don't have Serbia. They've got North Macedonia as well, which... They have. North Macedonia don't traditionally throw votes at Croatia just for the sake of it. Slovenia, you might get a bit more, but it's a bit of an unknown quantity, isn't it? And you always get these, like, I call them intra competitions. So you always get these where you've got songs of a similar ilk that are competing for the same audience. Sometimes they are split out over two semi-finals, but this year they've all ended up basically in the same semi-final. So
yeah. I mean, you got the thing where there's every country apart from the big three in it can vote for 16 other songs. There's only 6 that are not going to vote, not going to get any points.
Yeah.
So with someone like Slovenia or North Macedonia, you could probably have a fair old stab as which 6 are not going to score from them.
It's true. It's absolutely true. So what are you saying then? Croatia, are they in or are they out?
They're in. I'm picking up everything here.
You are. Yeah. Are you thinking that 16 are going to qualify, John?
Wouldn't that be wondrous?
It would be great, but it's not possible. I actually have got Croatia out, not because I want them to be out, but because of this intra-competition that's going on. I feel like they might just, if they're out, I feel like they'll be out in like 11th or 12th place. They're going to miss out only by a few points, I think.
It is going to be close. It's going to be close down at the bottom there.
It really is. It really is. Okay, let's move on to something different. And that is Belgium, Hooverphonic with The Wrong Place. Well, now, this song was very firmly on the bottom of my list this morning. And then I saw it on stage and it has moved significantly up my list because I think this is staged perfectly for what it is. And I think it really enhances a song that had just not captured me at all. What do you think?
Belgium, it's impeccable. I mean, you can tell they're an established band, so they know how to work a crowd, an audience, staging. They got that off pat. There's no problem there. It is different. It is so different. And it was I think it was the first time today when I just stopped and watched it, because I'd been mesmerised. I got what's going to happen here. Is she going to recreate the video, and there's going to be a bit of carnage going off? You know, she's going to hold her head up at the end of the 3 minutes, but she might save that till Monday night. Who knows? It's good. It's dark. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a dark song. I mean, they're all dressed in black. It's a dark setting. It's a close setting. They rely a lot on steady cams. There is a backdrop which could be disturbing, but it also doesn't do any harm, and it doesn't distract you from what you're seeing.
No, it's disturbing, but in a good way, if that makes sense.
Yes, good disturbing. Yeah, we need more of that. Yeah. Biggest improvement for me of the day, I think.
Absolutely. I think I was sort of expecting the video on stage, if you know what I mean, and we haven't got that at all. We've got a very polished, very professional, but not too clinical or sterilised. It's still dirty, it's still a bit rough, and as it needs to be. I really can't fault this, and that annoys me, because up until today I really didn't like the song at all. Dirty's not a bad word actually to use for it. It's a guilty pleasure sort of song. You don't want to like it, but you do. Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. Well, I'm going to guess that I know the answer to this. Do you think this is going to qualify? Absolutely. Yeah, I have firmly moved it onto my qualifying list. Absolutely. I think this is very strong, and I think this will qualify easily, actually. I think partly because it's good, and partly because it is just so different. It stands out for its difference. Yeah, easily.
Representing Israel.
Take a look what we become. It's been so long. Getting you out of my life, I feel so strong. Set me free. Feel my beating heart in perfect harmony. Don't let me down. Feeling like in prison, looking for the reason I don't wanna say goodbye. Feels like no tomorrow. Everywhere that I go, babe, I'm gonna lose my mind. Just another story, tell me not to worry. Everything will be just fine. Used to be a treasure, now I'm gone forever. Think I'm going back in time. Set me free. Feel my beating heart in perfect harmony. Don't let me down. I'ma make it on my own. Gotta see what she got on. I'ma make it on my own. Life has been so easy, used to call us cheesy. It was paradise. In my bed so lonely, you're the one and only. Hell, I know I paid my price. Clock is ticking, tick-tock, everything is chick-chock, and I don't know what to do. People tell me, honey, I love all I got. One day dreams will become true. Set me free. Feel my beating heart in perfect harmony. Don't let me down. Oh, set me free. Feel my beating heart in perfect harmony. Don't let me down. I'ma make it on my own. Gotta see what she got on. I'ma make it on my own. I'm so awesome, come and get some. What are we living for? I'm your reason, spicy season like we did before. Let me take you higher, set the place on fire. 2021 degrees. Feel my beating heart and set me free. 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 Gotta see what she got on. I'ma make it on my own. Harmony, don't let me down. Just set me free.
Next up is Israel with Eden, and I totally forgotten the name of the song. Help me out, John.
It's called Set Me Free.
Set Me Free. I knew it was dancing me. Thoughts on this one?
Again, I like it. It's another one of an ilk that we've seen so far today.
Yeah.
And I do like it. She's a very charismatic performer. And it's a slick, polished performance, but choreographed with an inch of its life. Where have I heard that before?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. A bit more to it. You know, she's gone for the male backing dancers as opposed to a mix or female backing dancers that we've seen with the others. There's a costume change, which they do very subtly. It's not a big open costume change that, you know, she's in one outfit then she's in another. I have a bit of an issue with the wig device that she wears near the end of the song. I don't get it. There's probably something about it that I don't get, but so much could go wrong with that. And like, it's right at the end, and it could be a deal breaker. But aside from that, I really like it. I think her charisma is shining through there.
Yeah, she's great. Did you watch her press conference? She's a sweetheart. She really is.
I didn't see that. I'll watch it on catch up.
Yeah. No, it was lovely. She was really, really sweet with the audience and with the questions and everything. She's, you know, and she's young. She's only 19, I think. So, you know, she's handling it all incredibly well. I agree with you about the headpiece at the end. I feel like that's completely unnecessary. It doesn't add anything or bring anything, or it doesn't really make a finale to the song. I don't think it translates into what they think it does, if that makes sense. But they might go away and look at that in the viewing room, and, you know, we wait to see at second rehearsals, and then, you know, the full run through is what they've decided to do with it. But yeah, that wasn't really working for me. I think this is a little bit like Croatia. I mean, it's a lot like Croatia. But for me, I'm just not sure there's enough in it to scrape it over the line based on the other things that are in the contest. We've said this for other things. If it was in semi-final 2, I'd be very confident of it qualifying. In semi-final 1, less so. What are your thoughts on that? Is it qualifying or not?
Have I got it qualifying? Again, I actually have. I've got a lot of qualifiers going off here.
Wow.
I think of the girl band, sort of the sassy girl singer one. This is one of the better ones for me. I have it over Croatia and Cyprus. I think purely because she's a better saleswoman for what she's got.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah. And that's worth extra votes.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. I've got Cyprus on the top of those 3, and we'll come on to the other 2 in just a moment. I've got Cyprus on the top of that, and I think Croatia and Israel might be the 2 that lose out, almost because of where they're placed as well. They're very much in the middle of the semi-final. I don't think they're before or after any ad breaks. I think that it's just a bit of a sort of, I don't know, it's a funny little middle section, really.
Yeah, it's going to be Israel is a very nice contrast after Belgium.
It is.
Because there will be people that will get turned off for Belgium. I'm not making any bones about it. It could polarise opinion. So they'll see Belgium and almost maybe want to reach for the knife drawer. And then Israel will come along and think, oh, life's not that bad after all.
Yeah, it's just quite a good contrast to that. I'll give you that. Yeah. I guess like everything, we will see.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Romania. And Roxanne, thoughts on that?
Amnesia.
Dare I ask?
Now I've got to be careful because there's a Romanian on my Eurovision Island team.
There is, I know.
and we had a very uncomfortable few minutes whilst we were digesting what we saw when we saw the first run through. I'm not keen. I'm really not keen. She models herself on certain performers. I'll say, for the sake of our argument, Billie Eilish. And if you've got, for the sake of argument, Billie Eilish fans watching on a Tuesday night, this is the only one they're going to vote for. So it'll get the votes in droves. But I still don't see it getting enough to push it over the line. It is rough and ready. It's designed to be very rough and ready around the edges, and she's thrown around a lot. And there's a few moves that we've already seen in this semi-final, like her being picked up and carried and that sort of thing. And it just doesn't have the same impact. You know, when you've got these polished performances coming before and after, and you see something that's a little, I don't know, shabby chic, in the choreography stakes. I think that's the best way I can describe it. And I think it might completely miss. That one.
I think you're right. I think, there is something good about dirty songs at Eurovision. We need a bit of dirt and grime, and not grime as in the musical genre, but we need that. Otherwise everything becomes very clinical and very sterile. We don't want everything to be choreographed like El Diablo and like Set Me Free and all those. But for me, there are not going to be enough Billie Eilish fans watching Eurovision on a Tuesday evening to vote for this, and I don't think it has any appeal beyond that very small demographic of people.
I think you're right. I mean, with the year we've had, we want something upbeat and positive to win, and this one, it's reflecting on what we've been through over the past 12 months. But I don't think people want to do reflecting anymore. They want a light at the end of the tunnel, and they want a bit more positivity, and they don't get it from this. Yeah,
no, I think you're absolutely right. There's not much more to say on it, really. Is it qualifying, John?
It's not.
I agree, and I'll go further and I'll say I feel bad for her, but I think this might even be our number 16 in this final, because I just don't think there's enough to vote for in it, for the juries or for the televote.
Accidental last, not because it's rubbish, not because it's bad, but because it's just not votable. It's an 11th favourite. Yeah, and we all know what happens to them because we're from the UK. Yes. Yes. Right. So our penultimate it wasn't. We've got 3 more to go. I'm jumping ahead of myself. I was going to go straight into Ukraine then, but we've got Azerbaijan to do first. Right. Azerbaijan, Effendi with not Cleopatra, but it might as well be, Matahari. John, what are your thoughts on Azerbaijan? Right, what are my thoughts on this one? Well, I saw the run through and I thought, this is just the backdrop they got set up for Cleopatra, and they've just recycled it for Matahari. It is just basically a recycle of Matahari, of Cleopatra.
To be fair, they've done that with the song though, so they might as well do it with the backdrop as well.
Yeah. But I expect so much more from Azerbaijan. We all know what they can do. They throw the kitchen sink, they throw baby otters, they throw everything at their performance. And well, not literally. That'd be cruel.
Yeah.
But they throw everything at a performance, and the result, they get the results to match. Now, on the plus side, I love the ethnic touches they're using in the music. Love that. Not fault that. But I just think it's completely underwhelming. It's most similar to the song we saw from Israel, and I think the Israeli one is far better. Maybe the songs are similar, but I think it's Eden Eleni's charisma will push her over the line, and not Effendi. I can see this as a shock non-qualifier. I really can. Not because it's bad, it's just because of what it's up against, and people are going to compare it not to last year's song, but they're going to compare it to what else they've seen over the previous half an hour or so, and it's just going to fall a bit flatter.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I think people are, we live in a really weird bubble in that we'll compare it to what's gone before, but actually it's not in competition with what's gone before. But you're absolutely right about Azerbaijan. You would think what the last thing they did in competitive Eurovision was Chingiz with Truth, with the laser robot arm things. This is Azerbaijan. They've got the money to be able to invest in, their staging and things. And from what I understand, they're not having pyro. They didn't have any pyro in the rehearsal today. I think that some have held back on their pyro for their second rehearsals, where we have seen pyro for some of the acts already. And to me, this is a few fireballs short of the full package. I think if you were to add that into it, it actually would lift it. And
it does need something else to lift it. Just to make it different, because it's people are going to be comparing it to what's gone before, and I think especially what comes after it, which we'll come on to very shortly.
Yes,
I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And that's not going to work in her favour.
No, I want to send them a $5 and tell them to light a touch paper somewhere, because I feel like that's really all it needs. and I really like this song. I enjoyed it from when it was released. I liked Cleopatra last year. We've been talking about it, so might as well talk about it. So naturally, I like this because it's the same song with different lyrics. And I'm sort of annoyed with Azerbaijan that they haven't pulled out their usual, as you say, metaphorical baby otters. You know, that's maybe they need actual baby otters. You're not allowed animals on stage, are you?
Of course. No live animals on stage. Yeah, unless it's
for me, I think this might be the one that does scrape through because I think there's enough votability in it. I can see votes coming in from Cyprus. I mean, if Turkey was still in it and they were voting in this semi-final, then I'd be saying, you know, there's no question whatsoever. But I can see other countries who are in this semi-final kind of getting on board with the sound of this, the ethnic sound of it. And I think that might do well. They've got their old pals Russia in this semi-final, which is helpful. And they've got Ukraine. I think Ukraine might throw some points at this. And as I say, Cyprus, I think might. North Macedonia. I feel like there's enough countries in this that might throw sort of 6 or 7s at it, and that might be enough to push it over the line.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's another one of these. If it were in the second semi-final, it will breeze through.
Absolutely.
There'd be no question at all. But yeah, with what it's up against, I just think it is Israel over Azerbaijan.
And for me, I've got Azerbaijan over Israel. Probably they're in like 10th and 11th, but either way. So you're saying no to Azerbaijan and I'm saying yes to Azerbaijan, but we're both a bit on the fence.
I'm saying no to Azerbaijan, but it wouldn't surprise me if it scraped through, but I say no.
Yeah, and I say yes, but it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't. There we go. Same story with a slightly different outcome.
That suits me, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Representing Ukraine.
Весняночка, весняночка, де ти зимувала, я садочко на клиночку, сорочечку пряла. Там у лісі, на юзлісі, сова воду дує, заспіває співаночку, нехай вона чує. Заплетися, шуми барвіночком, я тобі співаю весняночку, сію, 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 конопилички, сію, 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 зеленисеньки. Прийде, прийде весняночко, та й не забарися, а ми вийдем на ялицю, будем любитися. Весняночко, паняночка, заглянь у віконце, заспівали співаночку, засвітило сонце. Нумо, нумо, заплетимо шома, заплетимо, гуляти підемо, сію, 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 конопилички, сію, 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 зеленисеньки. Заплетися, шуми, заплетися, барвіночком шуми застелися, сію, 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 конопилички, сію, 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 зеленисеньки. Весняночка, весняночка, де ти зимувала, я садочко на клиночку, сорочечку пряла. У ялісі, на юзлісі, сова воду дує, заспіває співаночку, нехай вона чує. Заплетися, шуми барвіночком, я тобі співаю весняночку, сію, 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 конопилички, сію, 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 зеленисеньки. Нумо, нумо, наробили шуму, наробили, весну розбудили, сію, 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 конопилички, сію, 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 зеленисенькі.
So let's move on to, I mean, let's face it, the biggest kind of wow of the day, which was Ukraine. Do you want to go first while I think about my thoughts?
Wow. Yes. I did love this from the first time I heard it.
Absolutely.
The bonkers preview video set in the shadow of Chernobyl, and yeah, they got it. This is just head, shoulders, knees, and probably toes above everything else that's in this semi-final. Love it from start to finish. It's Ukraine know what they're doing. They know how to stage it, and they haven't got. Let's just say there's ill will between some countries to others that are in this semi-final. Ukraine doesn't really get any ill will from anyone, and that will see them through. They've got the 2 wins under their belt, which certain other countries haven't. So they know what they're doing. Everything works. It draws you in. There's a bit of a chant going on there. And can you imagine this at maybe like 1 a.m. at a Euro club?
Yes.
Everyone's had a few beers, and there's maybe an even more sort of turbo folk remix than this turbo folk song, and it's
that's
just going to
possible.
It's just going to wipe the floor with everything. It's one of the best things I've heard in a long time at Eurovision.
I agree with you, John. I've already put this on my hallowed gold list that people know about.
Wow.
I've already put this on my gold list, and I haven't seen it in a judgment setting yet, which is very rare. It normally takes, I normally wait until the grand final before I finally decide what's going on my gold list. Not with this. This is unbelievably good. I mean, I don't even know how to say it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. This is ready. This is not only ready for the semi-final, this is final ready. You can put this on the stage on Saturday night and it's done.
Clearly, and end of the first end of a semi-final is a good enough position to be on in any event. Mm-hmm. So this could have been on first, second, or third on in this semi-final. It would still walk it.
Absolutely.
So last put one on in this semi-final, and it's going to hoover up votes that probably go to more deserving countries. But because it's that good, and its strength could stop a certain, another cert from getting through. I can't fault it at all.
No, absolutely. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this, and nothing I would change about this. I just want to see this over and over and over again, which is what we'll do in rehearsals. We're going to get the same thing because there's nothing that they need to go and improve on. So we're just going to get it over and over again. And I love it. I could listen to it on replay for the rest of my life and still love it.
Until they put out something next year. I mean, Solvay last year was good enough, and we shouldn't compare last year to this year, because most of your average televoter won't have a clue what Ukraine were going to put in last year, so they have nothing to compare it to. But they'll see this and they'll think that's beyond bonkers, and it's got to win this semi-final.
It has, right? Well, I mean, I don't even really need to ask you. Is this qualifying, John?
That's a tough one. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. And I think this is our winner for semi-final 1.
Definitely.
Yeah. I can't see anything else beating this in semi-final 1.
No. Who's not going to like it? Tell me.
I mean, well, it's got its share of, people who don't like it. But again, that's what you need. You need significant people to not like it in order for it to do well. That's just the mathematics at work.
Naturally, but yeah, it's going to be more liked than hated.
Oh, absolutely. Which brings us on to the last one. I'm not sure how to introduce it. I'll just say it's Malta. It's Destiny. It's Jima Cass. Is it in your Cass, John?
Is it still destiny for her to win now?
Well, now.
Yeah. Until several hours ago, this was my 12 points for the whole contest.
Yes.
And Ukraine was my 10 points for the whole contest. I don't know. She's probably arguably the best singer we've seen today.
Absolutely. I think she's the best singer, the best vocalist that we've got this year, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I put Vasil up against her, but definitely the best female vocalist we've got.
Absolutely. Yeah.
At this contest. And the song is a good song. It's a good standalone song. Again, it's good radio play. It will tick a lot of boxes for the juries. And yet, I'm trying to put my finger on, maybe it's because I've heard it and I bid it up and I was expecting massive things of it. And it just, I wouldn't say disappointed is too strong a word. Underwhelmed, I've used that word already. I can't put my finger on it.
No, I know. It just
didn't meet expectations. That's a better way of putting it. Didn't meet our expectations.
It's one of those songs, and I've spoken about this, over the years, really. It doesn't add up to the sum of its parts. It's a great song. It's a great singer. It's colourful. The stage looks great. So in theory, when you do the mathematics, it should work. Yet it just doesn't quite add up to the sum of all its parts. Yeah,
I mean, I can't put my finger on it. I mean, the staging for the established fan might compare it to Chameleon by Michaela.
Yes.
The bright, vivid, bold colours. Nothing wrong with that. I know what the song's about. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there could be something in the outfit she's wearing.
Well, now let's talk about that. And I feel like I can talk about this because I am a large girl, just like our friend Destiny. So I do understand about dressing a body that is not a size 6. And I'm not sure that whoever has styled her does. I feel like Destiny feels a bit uncomfortable in that costume.
I get that. I get that. Yeah, I think so. There's nothing wrong with Destiny at all. No. As I say, I get what the song's about, and it's about acceptance and everything that goes with that, and it's bang on. It's how things should be.
Yeah.
But I think they could have dressed her a bit more kindly. Is that a fair way of saying things?
That's a very good way of saying it. Now, I have no problem with anybody wearing anything that they want to wear. More power to them, and that's what the song is about, as you say. But this doesn't work on Destiny. The colour doesn't work on her particularly well. And she, in the video to this song, she is wearing about half a dozen different outfits, all of which look fabulous. I just want somebody to put like a box of those outfits onto the next plane out of Malta Airport and for them to pick one of the others. It's not going to happen. But you're right. The preview video, there was some very flattering outfits there. She looked great in that video.
Yeah, she did. She was stunning in that video, and it just needs a bit of a rethink, I think.
I get it. I mean, it's the whole like Lizzo vibe, and I'm totally down for that. I love Lizzo, as do so many people. But it just no. That's my comment on Malta.
It's infuriating because
it really is.
Yeah, and again, it's going to come down to televoters, and they might not be as kind as we are.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I've already seen comparisons to Netta, and Netta won. So, I'm not writing it off at all. But I am a little more concerned now than I was this morning.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. She's got the potential. I reckon she's going to win this thing. If not this year, in a year or two to come, she's going to be back and she's going to win the thing.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if she could win on the first attempt, but I just think that ship might have sailed.
I think that you might be right. I put it this way: I'd say the ship has sailed, but it's not quite out of the harbour gates yet.
Oh no, it's still on a very long anchor, and they can still tow it back. But,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's on its way to another port. Yeah.
Right, come on then. So is Malta qualifying or not?
It is qualifying because, staging aside, she's got enough in herself to get it through. Yeah,
I agree. I think this is qualifying. I would have said it was going to win its semi-final until Ukraine stepped up with that. So I think this is going to qualify and qualify easily in the top half of qualifiers. And then it will be down to Saturday night, won't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you get through to the Saturday night, it's game on, isn't it? And anything can happen. If she gets a good draw in the second half, maybe. Yep. I like to think the third quarter seems to be a sweet spot in the grand final. So
well, you see, The problem with the grand final is we talk about it in terms of halves, but the grand final is not set into halves, it's set into thirds. So they really should do the draw of like in thirds rather than halves and quarters, because that's where the ad breaks come. So I always say the last third is where you want to be.
Yeah. You don't want to be last on.
No.
Because people will be too drunk by then to discern good from bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe sort of about 20th.
Yeah, I would say anywhere between 18 and 22 and you're good.
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah.
Well, I guess we wait and see. Right, John, my 3 questions of the day are, what has impressed you the most?
What has impressed me the most? Belgium, because they've just sold it. They've done a number on that. They've really sold it. And yeah, they should be proud of themselves. Yeah,
I agree. In fact, I'm not going to pick Belgium. I'm going to pick Norway, annoyingly for my own head. But actually, I was quite impressed with how they've just slightly lifted that from the national final and how that song is not as awful to me as it once was. What's happening to me, John?
That's a good pick. Yeah, nothing wrong with picking Norway. It's most impressive.
Okay, favourite rehearsal of the day? I need to ask.
Maybe it was the last but one song. It was Ukraine. Go away.
Yeah, absolutely. No argument. That is my favourite of the day as well. And what, John, has made you smile today?
What has made me smile? That's a trickier one to answer. I'm going to say Israel. Israel, because having only seen her from preview videos, Eden Elena, she's got a bit of charisma about her. She could be another Destiny in the making, and she's a sort of person. I'm sure she could just stand on stage and read the Tel Aviv phone book, and she put so much charisma on it, and she'd get through like that.
Great. I'll tell you what made me smile today. It was just a little detail at the end of every run through that Eleanor did for Cyprus. At the end of every run through, she just had this really sweet, thank you to everybody that had been doing it. And I just thought it was so cute, and that made me smile.
Nice.
John, thank you so much for joining me. People can find you at EurovisionIreland.something.
.net, EurovisionIreland.net, our website, and then we're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I've got to get this right, Instagram and TikTok.
Oh, are you TikToking now?
We're on TikTok. Yes, find us on that. Yeah, we're down with the kids.
Wonderful, you so are down with the kids. Lovely, thanks, John, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow in the Virtual Press Centre.
No problem. Good to chat to you.
Thank you.
Massaging my ego with your unabridged pickup lines. Hell no, I'm not your honey. Hell no, I don't want your money. Got it wrong, I ain't into dummies. No, baby, it's not a maybe. Yeah, I'm too good to be true. There's nothing in it for you. So if I show some skin, doesn't mean I'm giving in. Not your baby. Drink in my hand. Think if I'm drunk, then I give you a chance. Boy, you keep buying in compliance and stop crying. Not gonna give it up, ain't changing my plans. Hell no, I am not your honey. Hell no, I don't want your money. Got it wrong, I ain't into dummies. Nah, baby. It's not a maybe. Yeah, I'm too good to be true. There's nothing in it for you. So if I show some skin, doesn't French, baby.